let's break it down to some of the main logical progressions that's happening in the world today. The 21st century is defined by an era of new organizations and groups achieving relevance. So I often tell students that the 20th century was the century of nation states, but the 21st century is a very, very ambiguous century. It's one that's where political organizations and communities that are relevant to many people throughout the world don't necessarily come from the traditional organizations we know and understand. And this is why organizations like ISIS have been able to produce quite a bit of appeal and gravity in the public eye. In many parts of the world, nations are decreasingly relevant, or the fragility of communities and state governance is to such an extent that people feel vulnerable enough that their alternatives are communities that have been under the radar of political action and activity, and now they're achieving a little bit more prominence. They're becoming a little bit more legible to people all over the world, and that's a worldwide phenomena, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. Well, one of the key things that triggers violent extremism is the presence of vulnerable populations. So a sense of if you live in a place where your sense of being in the world is being challenged, your traditions are being taken away from you, or you feel like the world is erasing you from the map, that's a form of vulnerability. All of those are forms of vulnerability, and that becomes the ingredient that many people use to exploit those vulnerabilities, and then that ends up being kind of the way that extremism becomes propagated, and then later it progresses into forms of violence.